Welcome to the Intercut podcast, the weekly show going over the TV, movies, and entertainment that people can't cut away from. I am your co-host, Zachary Shevich, and joining me live from New York, it's Arturo Zurita.
We're breaking the fourth. We said that we were still going to be doing a Skype call, so I don't know how long that camera over there is going to last, but for the time being, we got these two cameras right here. Worst case scenario, we go all the way back to just audio. Ancient times, like
just staring at our laptops at each other.
You know what? I just figured, the commemorative episode 46, that's when we should finally come together.
I mean, it's a special one. Not everybody gets to do 46 episodes.
So I figured,
Let's make it big. Let's blow it out. We're in the same room, which is new for us.
I am in New York for a month, so that should be a month worth of Intercut episodes that we got together. And we're about to find out if we have chemistry or not.
Yeah. So you can be the judge. Let us know in the comments below if this podcast thing is working for you. I don't know. In a little bit, we're going to talk about the Oscars host, Emma Stone as Cruella DeVille, and get to some Twitter questions from all of y'all. Thank you for sending them in. Reminder that you can send us questions that we'll answer every week on the Intercut podcast by reaching out to us at IntercutPod on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, wherever. Even email us, intercutpod@gmail.com, and we will get to your questions on the show. But first, we start the way we start every week here on the podcast with what we've been watching. Art, what you been watching?
You, Zach.
Oh.
I've been outside your balcony saying at you the whole time. I saw The Favourite the other day. I
know you did.
all the way to New York just so I can watch The Favourite.
Yeah.
And that movie's 6x too long. I said this about Suspiria. I said it about The Favourite. I don't understand why 2018 has decided to do like 4 extra acts that it needs to. And you hyped it up. You said like, yo, The Favourite's pretty good. I know you didn't like Killing of the Sacred Deer. Oh, you're going to like The Favourite.
I'm surprised you were so...
And I saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse too, so like we don't have Alamo Drafthouse over there.
Right, so you got Palms, that with your beer and with your meal.
And here's the thing: I wasn't the biggest fan of Killing a Sacred Deer, mainly because I thought, and it wasn't so much the Deadpan one, because this one he doesn't have the same. He doesn't write it, and neither is it his collaborator.
It's the first Yorgos Lanthimos movie that comes from a non-Yorgos Lanthimos script.
We were just talking earlier how it's like Phantom Thread Beta.
Yeah.
It's Phantom Thread Beta. Olivia Colman, I think, steals the show. She's the best performance there. The other two, obviously, the whole story being about that they're trying to win
her favor.
Yeah, win her favor, be the favorite. To me, there's just points where it just drags, and there's a point where I just did not care about the story that was going on. Personally, for me, I did not understand. I thought it was cool, the fisheye.
Yeah.
Lens, for whatever reason, I thought a bunch of the shots looked great. All of a sudden, it turns into... You remember Mrs. Maisel, where they just start, like, breakdancing in the middle of the Jewish wedding? It randomly turns into that. There's a bunch of scenes that I think, in retrospect, are really good. Like, when you notice all of the different overlaying scenes, which comes to play in the literal final shot of the movie. Yeah. I don't know how you feel about the final shot of the movie. We always have this thing where a final shot of a movie comes, especially in a Yorgos movie, and you just go, you feel it. You looked at your clock. You know it's about to end. And you go, no, absolutely not. And then it ends.
That's the stop.
And then it ends right there.
I know.
Did you like that ending?
I kind of really did. I didn't the moment it happened. I wanted more the moment it happened. But I think the movie that I compared it to when we first talked about it, before you had seen it, is The Duke of Burgundy. And I think it leaves it in a very kind of like Duke of Burgundy battling of, relationship kind of place where, the person who's won maybe didn't actually win.
You know, I wrote down The Duke of Burgundy when I came out of the theater. I completely forgot that's what you that's what you recommended it to.
It's really it's similar.
There are cool there's cool lines in there in the script where like you go back and you realize that like Emma Stone said something in the beginning of the movie about always being in a maze, and you realize by the end of it that maybe the person or people that you're rooting for or that you're against may not actually be the people who you should be rooting for or be against. And again, like I do like how the ending is depressing as can be. Right. For a movie called The Favourite, it is literally probably one of the most depressing.
And for a comedy, it like really... it's similar to The Lobster and how it starts out very funny and then just kind of gets dark by the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I would still say Dogtooth is my favorite, so I'm going to use The Favourite talk to say that if you haven't seen Dogtooth, definitely go watch Dogtooth.
Yeah.
And
let me ask you this though. So you said you really liked the Olivia Colman performance.
Mm-hmm.
For you, is that one of the performances of the year? Are you hoping that does well at the Oscars and stuff?
by me, well, that would be a supporting role, I would say. Obviously.
She's actually being campaigned in lead,
Okay,
strangely
that's
enough.
stupid because she's clearly a supporting role,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Oh no, she's going for lead. Then that's dumb. Then you're wrong. That is the literal opposite of doing a Martian comedy,
Right?
Because you're just gonna shoot yourself in the foot. If she was doing supporting role, then I would say she definitely has a chance. I don't know of anybody else who is up there, off the top of my head.
I think they're going for Rachel and Emma in supporting and Olivia.
But who else
lead.
has supporting roles this year, female-wise, that are like the biggest ones? Because
Off
when
the
it comes
top
to
of my
like
head.
the males, the male lead and female lead, I automatically have like people off the top of my head, and there's no way I can see anyone personally for me surpassing Hereditary, and then everyone who's rooting for Lady Gaga. So if they're going for the lead, that's going to be pretty dumb. If they go supporting, then I would say yes, because it's very rare that I find a character who I think is utterly and completely obnoxious. Like there's that one line where it says, well, "What if I drowned in the mud bath?" Oh, I just think it's hot cocoa. Yeah, I really did not care if she would have drowned in it.
Right.
So it's a performance where I'm like, you're annoying enough that it's compelling.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a character who literally eats cake until she throws up and
Yeah.
then keeps eating the cake. Like, this
That's
is
disgusting.
not a character that we're supposed to think is, like, great.
Yeah.
She's very, very obnoxious. But
Her legs are literally deteriorating.
but she plays it so funny.
Yeah.
She's just the madness of it and her screaming at people. I thought Olivia was particularly hysterical on it. I thought also Emma Stone was a really good match.
She was.
For the Yorgos Lanthimos material. Okay, so I like The Favourite more than you. Is there anything else you've seen, or should I get to mine?
I don't know if you've seen this one. I only feel I need to mention it because we feel indebted. We had a little Amazon hype party that we had a couple episodes ago. We had one in particular that kept getting recommended. Have you
Still
seen
haven't
any
seen it
episodes? Okay, well, you see, I care about our fans and I listen to our fans, the interviewers out there. I saw Patriot Act, and the opening title sequence is incredible.
Yeah. Is that how much you watched?
No, I think we saw 2 episodes.
Okay,
I
cool.
think we saw 2 episodes. It's pretty. So I don't really know where the whole story is gonna go, but pretty much you have this dude who his father's like working. He oversees a bunch of stuff, and he's kind of like I don't want to say a federal agent, but they pretty much send him to apply for jobs, so he has a way of being able to smuggle money in. So if he applies for a job, like literally the opening scene, not to ruin it, but I guess to hype for the people who hyped it for us. Hype
Yeah,
it back.
I mean, we didn't know it existed, so maybe you didn't either.
Yeah, until you guys were hyped it up for us.
Jordan.
For those who don't know, like the opening shot is him trying out for, he's interviewing for this position. He doesn't get it. He goes outside. He overhears them saying they're going to give it to the Asian guy who came in. So he goes outside. He walks out with the Asian guy, and then he goes, "Oh, you think you're going to get it?" "Yeah, I'm pretty sure." He's like, interesting. Bus comes. Boom. That's the opening shot right then and there. Just like that. So this dude does anything to get any job that he needs that will cause him to travel to a country. So with ease, he's able to take whatever money he needs to. And he's working under his dad, played by Terry O'Quinn,
cool.
who I just saw. You got a whole box.
Yeah, Terry
of
O'Quinn's the
Lost,
man.
yeah,
John
over there.
Locke.
So this man still has it, and he pretty much is. It's kind of like I don't want to say like Jacob and Esau type of thing, but he clearly has 2 sons that will do anything for each other. And it's not that he abuses that, but he knows how to use it. The one son who's the scapegoat who does all this craziness, and then the other one who's kind of just like the guy who goes, "Yeah, Dad, what do you need me to do? I'll go protect my brother. I'll do whatever you want." So it's a pretty interesting dynamic. I think I've only gotten 2 episodes in. I'm curious to see what season 2 like brings up, but I can definitely see the hype around it. So
You can stick with it?
yeah.
Cool. I'll get there. I promise. I promise. I will get there. So I've been catching up on some 2018 movies. You know, we're getting close to the end of the year. People are doing their year of end lists. So I wanted to see stuff like Crazy Rich Asians, Love, Simon, Ocean's 8, all these things that I missed during the year. The best of everything I saw was First Reformed.
You liked it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot, actually. I forget, actually, where you ended up landing on it, but I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff happening in the movie. For me, I feel like if you just listen to the script, you can tell that it's a very personal movie to Paul Schrader. It feels like a movie where the writer's like, the writer is like, holy shit, what is happening in the world? I need to put it somewhere. Yeah, it's almost weirdly personal in that way where a lot of the discussions don't feel like movie discussions. They feel like
So that's my
people
favorite part of the
hanging out.
movie. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's sort of what's interesting to me is it's really, it's deeply philosophical and deeply internal about what's fair, what responsibility we have as people, as parents, to what responsibility religious people have to the earth.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of really interesting material there, and it's really well handled by Ethan Hawke in that lead role. I'm very much in favor of the Oscar campaign around him. So yeah, I like the movie quite a bit. It's a small movie and feels super personal, like I said. So I don't know if it's one of my favorites of the year, but I'm thinking about it a lot.
To me, it was one of those movies where it's like the discussion around it is so much better than rewatching the movie.
Right.
Like you can have like a 4-hour discussion just about like what you said. That one scene where Ethan Hawke goes in and he goes, "So y'all don't care about the environment, even though you're a church." Oh, that's because your money's coming from these like big pharma people or oil people. Right. That's interesting. Doesn't your book say to take care of the earth? Did you hear what the director said? Yeah, obviously, he's done stuff from like Taxi Driver to everything. To me,
are you talking about the stuff on Facebook?
Is that where you put it?
I think so. Yeah.
What did he say?
The Kevin Spacey thing.
No, what was that?
Okay, maybe we should skip over that. You say what you were going to say.
So pretty much, I had heard, and this is just to like kind of crap out something. He was complaining about audience members. He said that movies aren't bad. You guys are stupid.
Oh, I think I remember reading this.
He said you guys are stupid. You're the reason why there's bad movies out there. And none of y'all saw my movie. And he got like really, really mad. And it got to a point where it's just like, he sounds like Eminem in Kamikaze. You never really want to sound like Eminem in Kamikaze. Yeah. I remember because he was there at SIF when I saw the screening in Chicago, and he very much talked about it being personal. How about he wanted to get all this stuff off of his chest and go in there and shoot the movie, and that he like purposely wanted it to be transcendental. He kept saying the word transcendental. And again, I personally think that the ending is very obvious.
Like, it's an ambiguous ending that maybe isn't that ambiguous.
Ambiguous, in my opinion, because it's like you clearly laid something out there. It's very obvious if you look at a certain door, but he leaves it open into interpretation, Inception style, and stuff like that. But I think it's very interesting his comments on that, on like blaming audiences for not understanding a movie. I don't know. I don't know what he said about the Kevin Spacey stuff, but
so the Kevin Spacey thing is I just touched on this quick because it's not really something we've been watching. He's got in a little Twitter trouble, the director of First Reformed, over the weekend for posting about how he got a script and it was a perfect role for Kevin Spacey and he wanted to do it with Kevin Spacey, but that the producer wouldn't even entertain the idea. And something about how, there should be a difference between like life jail and art jail or something. A bad look for a dude in the middle of an Oscar campaign.
Bad for everything he was pushing in that movie?
Yeah, that too.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's okay. So I liked First Reformed a lot. I also kind of liked Crazy Rich Asians. I didn't love it, but I thought it was really charming. I thought it had a lot of really great performances in it. I liked the bigness of the movie. I think a lot of times in romantic comedies like this, you can kind of hone in on the two lead people and everybody else feels like they're supporting. And in this, it really felt like there were 10, 15 complete characters.
Rich.
a bunch of Crazy Rich Asians. That being said, like, I didn't find the movie to be terribly funny. There were long stretches where it kind of decided not to be funny even.
Yeah.
So, it's not for me like a standout from the year. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Love, Simon. I didn't want to.
Okay.
I didn't want to after like how bland a lot of it was, but the endings kind of worked for me.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So you're putting Crazy Rich Asians over Love, Simon.
I'm putting them on the same level.
Wrong. And you're also saying that the ending of Love, Simon, that is the biggest problem that I had with the movie Love, Simon.
What, that it's like a mystery or?
I feel Love, Simon has been out for more than enough, so can we dive into this discussion?
Yeah, spoilers.
Right, spoilers.
Let's do it. Love, Simon. It's on HBO Go if that's of interest to you.
Been out. I feel like the audience who have been wanting to watch this movie have seen it.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so the whole movie is about how difficult it is to come out, right?
Yeah.
That is literally the point of the movie.
Yeah.
We all agree with this. Did he not just force a dude to come out at the end of the movie? Either show up here or we won't. So when I made this video, right, I got a bunch of people telling me, you're an idiot, go screw yourself, yada, 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 go read the book. That's not the ending to the book. The ending to the book is purposefully them being private. Mm-hmm. He does it in one of those like the tilt-a-world things. In private, they do their thing and they like find each other. Blue also isn't randomly kissing a girl in the movie, which I felt was a very contrived twist.
Right.
Which I think a lot of people were like, well, you know, he could be bi and things like that. And
it's
again,
stuff like
maybe
that.
I'm not one to speak
the
of
stuff
it.
like that I didn't like. Mm-hmm. I honestly like some of the more emotionally saccharine stuff, which normally makes me cringe a little bit. Like I just kind of like the relationship between him and his parents.
You dislike the beginning of the movie. I think that was the best part of the movie. To me, so that was
so between us, it's a good movie.
Between us, it's I guess so. Yeah, no, I felt like this was on its way of being like, and I'm pretty sure it is. Like this is a classic for a lot of people in terms of the genre that it's in.
Yeah.
But to me, like if they would have landed that ending and not made it as cliche, which is what a lot of people wanted. They wanted it to be the cliche big grand ending. But I'm like, that's cool. Y'all could have had. I thought it was gonna go places. I thought it was gonna be like this whole grand gesture of love. And I will say this. While I do think that the ending is contrived for the twist, as it very clearly is switched from the book, 100%, someone did mention, and they did give me a perspective in where he technically is putting himself in a position of showing the biggest gesture of love, because if the other guy doesn't come out, then he's fully embarrassing himself.
Right.
And after everything that he had the other guy go through, that's the biggest thing he's willing to risk. But I still feel like he's forcing the other guy. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like this whole thing, like literally, and it's in the trailer. You don't get to decide. I do. You got to meet me by 12.
And that's all a good point. Yeah. I'm not, like, Love, Simon is definitely not a movie I thought was great by any means. I thought there were some cute moments in there. It was mostly the family relationship that I just kind of found endearing by the end.
The dad.
Yeah.
You didn't like the scene with the dad?
No, I did.
That was one of the best scenes in the movie.
That was those were the scenes that actually worked for me. Mm-hmm. A lot of the stuff with Simon, just he felt like not character.
He's the same person in Jurassic World and in Kings of Summer.
Yeah.
And in everything that he's in.
Do you want to touch on Ocean's 8? I know you've talked about how it's not your favorite movie and that Widows is much better. I mean, I agree with all that. I started it and there's that opening little bit where Sandra Bullock is kind of like
clothes?
When she's like getting into the hotel and she steals the clothes and I was like, okay, I'm in. This looks cool. And then everything else is way too easy for them the rest of the way through.
You want to know the thing that bothered me the most? And again, I think we're way past spoilers. And even if you haven't seen the movie, I think it doesn't really ruin much. There's a very big thing in it. I want to say it's in the trailer. You cannot take that necklace off without a special equipment. They take the necklace off, find it again, and the security, who's literally trained for one piece of technology, doesn't even question how it came off.
Yeah.
What?
Or why it's back together, because I think she pulled it out of the water with it like
back to yes.
I don't know. There was a bunch of like little stuff like that, and there's one big twist that they do in the movie. Sort of, I think every Ocean's movie has this where you think we got it good, but we got it great. Yeah, the end one, and the end one just really didn't work for me.
Yeah,
it just felt very tacked on. Mm-hmm. So
it felt like they were only able to get one of the old members back, and it was the one dude who wasn't doing much.
Right.
Did you feel like literally Clooney's ghost was haunting the movie? They are literally at his tombstone.
Yeah, I mean, they go to his tombstone. They have a picture of him. Like, I think
and they overly focus on it when Awkwafina's like,
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I'm just waiting at the ending when she literally goes and takes a martini. I thought George Clooney was going to come up with his
Me
Nespresso.
too, and the shot, like, hangs. Yeah, I thought it was going to be some Nespresso joke. I was already coming up with it in my head. And I think it's weird to kind of, like, acknowledge that history and not really use it to get cameos from, like, maybe the two least famous members of the Ocean's 11.
They cut Matt Damon.
Did they? Like, see, that kind of makes no sense to me.
Which is weird to me. I don't know if Pitt ever did anything. Clooney's on as producer, but that's also sort of like by default, I want to say. I don't know. I think it's a little weird.
Yeah. All that being said, like, I think I would actually enjoy an Ocean's 12.
I would.
Or 9?
9. Yeah, because she's already doing the list.
Right.
She was working on the list.
Yeah.
Oh, no. See, that's the thing. I am all for it. I specifically said it is just same level as the other ones. The other ones aren't great.
I
They're
wouldn't
all
say it's
fun
the same
movies.
level. I think it's lesser. I think there's
Really?
Yeah, I think it's lesser than the other
I
Ocean's
believe
movies.
in equal opportunity.
But I want to see a better one. I think
Yeah.
the cast is there.
Yeah.
It's
No,
still
well, that's the thing. Sandra Bullock.
Kate Blanchett, Awkwafina, Mindy Kaling, Helena Bonham Carter. Am I just naming them all?
Rihanna.
Rihanna,
Who are the other two?
Anne Hathaway.
And yes, it is a complete and utterly stacked cast. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the Ocean's cast is way too...
Sarah Paulson.
The Ocean's cast has Brad Pitt, Matt Damon,
George Clooney.
and George Clooney, like, as the top three.
Yeah.
I would argue Sandra Bullock, Sarah Paulson,
Kate Blanchett.
and Kate Blanchett are very much up there as being
Not to
at the
mention
same
Anne
level.
Hathaway.
Stars. And Anne Hathaway.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. So yeah, hopefully Ocean's 9 will be better than 8.
we'll see.
See. But that's all for what we've been watching. Let us know what you've been watching in the comments down below. We're going to get to our yay or nays, where we talk about the latest happenings in the entertainment industry. Starting with, we just found out this news. There's a lot of talk on Twitter today about the vacant Oscar hosting gig, how it's the worst job in Hollywood, how a lot of people don't seem to want to take it. Seems like Kevin Hart is taking it. Kevin Hart, who seems to not turn down a lot of gigs, is your potential host for the 91st Oscars. So, Art, yay or nay? Are you interested in a Chris Hart-led Oscar ceremony? I mean, I know you're a huge fan of Night School, so let's just get that on the record.
Night School's a masterpiece. But, yo, Kevin Hart, like, I don't want to be a snitch or bring up old stuff or anything, but, yo, my man straight up overcame some stuff. And now he's hosting that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, some people deal with that and their career is done.
Right.
He's hosting the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it never happened.
Yeah.
No one works harder than Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I'll just leave it at that. Nobody works harder than Kevin Hart. Impossible.
He works really hard. He's constantly putting out material. He's funny, and he's got his own, like, he develops a lot of his own material despite being in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think he's got the charisma to pull it off.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't know if what he does will necessarily match up with the Oscars, but who cares?
I don't think it really matters.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he seems more like an MTV Movie Awards host to me than an Oscars host.
So that brings me the only problem, because we've had some, what should be better hosts, and what do they always do? What do we always complain? There's no reason for it to be 3 hours long with all that filler. His Night School was 2 hours long, bro. That was literally all filler. So that's like the biggest worry that I have, is that it can be that. At the same time, though, Kevin Hart's best thing is performing. Yeah. I would say he's a better performer than he is when he's scripted and acting. Mm-hmm. So
there's also the potential he's now kind of established himself in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Maybe he brings up The Rock for some bits. Maybe he, has Tiffany.
Oh yeah, his connections with everybody. Yeah.
I think that's where, if anything, it's better to have somebody who's a little more in Hollywood than somebody who's just a comedian. Yeah. But yeah, it definitely isn't the worst host they could have picked.
And if you want the funny monologues and stuff, you go watch those other two at the Spirit Awards.
Yeah, exactly. Emma Stone has been cast as Cruella DeVille in a live-action movie that just announced a new director. Craig Gillespie of I, Tonya is set to direct Emma Stone and the 101 Dalmatians in a movie that's being described as having a punk edge. Art, yay or nay, you want to see the 101 Punk Dalmatians?
No. See, I have not liked absolutely any of the live-action remakes.
Yeah. Do you remember the live-action 101 Dalmatians? I think it came out when we were
Yeah, but that's different, though.
Yeah.
With Glenn Close?
Yeah.
That's different.
I agree. I'm remembering that's a thing now.
See, that's the one I know, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one I know. That's the one I grew up with. That's the one that they had
Not the
at the sock
cartoon
hop. No, it was that one. Like, I'm aware of the animated one, but I remember the Glenn Close one. Like, that's what I know Glenn Close as.
Right.
Being Cruella DeVille.
Same.
I feel like this is going down the same path of it's going to be like beat for beat. Like, okay, cool. It's gotten to the point where all the dogs are going to be animated. Like, super animated.
Yeah.
We already got Secret Life of Pets. I saw Lion King one. That's cool. The only thing I'm excited for, the cast looks stacked. It's really cool to see the same actors that were Yeah, they already did it. That's dope.
Yeah.
Is it really live action? It's mostly CGI. Jungle Book, mostly CGI.
Yeah.
Cinderella one, didn't really care for it. All of these. Lion King only has me intrigued because of the soundtrack. The rumors of the soundtrack that may not even be a thing.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by Lion King a little bit, mostly with the cast, but aside from that, like, these just don't really work for me, these live action Disney ones, these remakes. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of the charm in the original animated one is like fun little puppy gags, and a lot of the charm in the original live action one is, oh my god, look at all these puppies. Like, what's the... I like seeing dogs. I don't know if I need to see like a bunch of CGI dogs. It's not. I don't know if the same cute factor is there. You know.
If it's based off of Cruella, doesn't that mean like half of the running time is gonna be her cutting up dogs?
I mean, I don't know how punk we're getting with it, but yeah, I don't know. I think Emma Stone could be a fun choice. She seems young, but
way too young, I feel, to play Cruella DeVille. I don't even know how Cruella DeVille is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I guess that really doesn't matter. But I just think it's kind of pointless. Yeah. In my opinion, but
Disney will make a lot of money off it though.
For the new streaming service. So.
Yeah. Disney Plus. Between Two Ferns, the awkward Funny or Die interview series that has featured actors such as Brad Pitt and politicians such as Barack Obama, is being adapted into a movie that's already filming. Scott Aukerman, the co-creator of the series, is directing, with Zach Galifianakis leading, and many celebrities have already been seen filming for it, including Peter Dinklage. Art, yay or nay, you're curious about a Between Two Ferns movie?
No.
No? Not at all? Do you like Between Two Ferns?
I've only seen like the snippets that are on YouTube.
I mean, that's
what
like
I want to
all
see
there is.
Right, what I want to see a Letterman movie.
If it was good?
Why? Isn't it just an interview series?
Well, so I'm assuming they won't do just an interview for 90 minutes.
So then it's not Between Two Ferns.
I think it's his character. That, like, obnoxious Zach Galifianakis, like, weird interviewer character.
So his Borat.
Yes, I think it's going to be like his Borat.
Oh, okay.
But
that's
with
more interesting.
Between Two Ferns.
Yeah.
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 I'm there for it. I mean, you know, we haven't really gotten like a good, wacky Zach Galifianakis role in,
I guess,
10 years.
But isn't Between Two Ferns, is that scripted?
I think so, yeah.
Oh. Because, like, Borat isn't scripted.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it funnier.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what Zach Galifianakis looks like. Like, there's no way he can just...
Exactly.
Go out in public and just be like, oh, yeah, I don't know who I am, because it's not going to be just as funny.
Right.
So, I don't know. I feel like... I always thought that they were unscripted, like the stuff that he does. I thought it was more like the Eric and Andre show, where he... is it Eric and Andre? Eric show?
Andre?
I like Eric, but I really like Andre.
Andre's the dopest.
Andre's the good one of the two. Where it's like half scripted, but then he also goes so off the radar that like the guest has no idea
there
what's
might be
going
some
on.
stuff like that. I don't really know.
If they do something like that, maybe it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
But,
I'm curious. I like Scott Aukerman a lot. He is in charge of Comedy Bang Bang, the podcast, which is very funny. I have faith that they could at least make something that's chuckle-worthy. I don't know if it's going to be like a good movie.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We're keeping Yay or Nay short this week to get to more of your questions, so let us know in the comments below if there's any news stories you want us to comment on in future weeks of the show. But it's time for the interview, where we get to the questions submitted by you, the inner cuties, the inner cutters, the interviewers.
We're just having them all three of them. That's all I was going to say on the show.
Basically, the interfans.
Yeah.
So let's dive right into it with a first question from Cheyenne, who asks, what do you consider some of the most important post-black and white movies? So this is, I guess, you know, I want to narrow the question down a little bit, because that's basically what, like 1950 until now? But maybe we go like...
There's none. Not one has come out. Since 12 Angry Men, none have come out. Important as in what? Important as into like movies, or important in terms of like society?
I think you can interpret it in any way you want.
I think some of the best movies that I would like only see once, 12 Years a Slave, after all of the slavery movies, is still one that shines through, not only in the directing of Steve McQueen, in the filmmaking aspect of it, but pretty much the story that it's telling. I mean, I think there's a bunch when it comes to Memento. Just the type of storytelling
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so that's
like
the
things
thing.
that change the game.
There's a really interesting. You can interpret this question a bunch of different ways, right? Like important, does that mean socially relevant,
stuff, yeah.
or does that mean influential? And if we're talking influential, like you got to throw Die Hard near the top of that list.
Yeah,
right?
you got to throw any Spielberg film that pretty much caused everybody else to do things.
And Jaws are near the top of that list. So if you're talking about like movies that impacted other movies, I'd say like Jaws, Die Hard, E.T.
Seven Samurai, black and white.
Yeah.
The Seven Samurai remastered in color because it inspired
The Magnificent Seven.
Oh, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's in color, so I'll pick that one as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I think those movies have all influenced a lot of other movies.
Yeah.
If you're talking like importance in terms of social relevance, I think that's a lot harder to pick out because I don't know which movies necessarily get like the dialogue.
And there's
going.
different stuff. Some would say like Midnight Cowboy.
Right.
Right. That was very prevalent in teaching a bunch of people how to do cocaine.
Yeah.
So there's different movies that teach people different things, and it's also like a snowball effect. Like one movie can bring in something, and then another one spirals it. Right. Like John Williams comes in a bunch of different movies and sets up scores. John Hughes comes in and shows you a whole dynamic of these high school type movies that then spawn into what this whole craze is in the 80s to the 90s, which then brings you Mean Girls and Clueless and stuff like that. The scores then evolve into Inception, and Inception does that one thing that bomb, you know what I mean? So it's almost like a
John
snowball
Hughes
effect.
is another good one though for
Yeah.
important. I think he
influential for
redefined a
people.
lot of
Yeah.
teen cinema.
That's what I would say.
Chase, from a few mixed reviews, asks,
Screw that
who
guy.
has the most interesting brain in Hollywood?
Denis Villeneuve.
He's got a good one. I think
He has the best one.
the best one.
Yes. Oh, and our boy, Sam Esmail.
Sam Esmail
Those are my two.
Is showing
Yeah,
he's got
I'm
a
gonna pick my movie
pretty
side. And I'll pick
interesting
that
brain.
side. Yeah.
Yeah. I can go one movies, one TV also. TV, let's go Donald Glover.
Oh.
Because Atlanta is the only show on right now where I have absolutely no idea what I'm getting week to week.
You gotta throw in.
Hero Murai.
Yeah, you gotta throw in.
Hero Murai
It's a collaborative
definitely
effort right there.
He definitely gets some credit there too because
I agree with that. I agree with
responsible
that.
for the
That's
visuals.
fair.
And plus, just talking about interesting brains in Hollywood, in the industry, the Donald Glover stuff goes way beyond just TV.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, because it's music videos and a bunch of other stuff.
And going movies, I mean, I feel like most people would say something like Tarantino. I think most people would expect me to say Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah. Are you gonna say Michel Gondry?
That's a good pick. I'm gonna say Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah, but my man's eating ramen right now because Anomalisa didn't do so well. See, here's the problem with that. I said this multiple times. People were like, "Oh, I gotta be the starving artist." No, people are really starving. When I saw Anomalisa, the man was hungry.
Yeah.
He legit was like, "Thank y'all for coming, for real. I really appreciate it." My man had a pack of ramen noodle sauce in the back. He was collecting coins outside. These people really do not eat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Charlie Kaufman's a dude who comes up with an eccentric script that turns into a movie that 100 people see, and then he goes into hiding for 10 years.
Charlie Kaufman is that dog in the meme who's burning in the burning firehouse thing. He just thinks everything's okay.
Right. I mean, to me, though, to be able to write adaptation, Being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Anomalisa, what kind of crazy brain does that all come from? Synecdoche, New York, also.
Would you consider him Hollywood?
I mean, he makes movies, doesn't he? If we're going more mainstream, that's a little harder to choose. But Denis is definitely one of the names I'd put up there. Christopher Nolan, I like too.
No, I agree with you 100%. I just feel like he's so far removed from everything that's going on. It's almost like he's in his own lane.
He's got a Netflix movie coming up.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Great.
Brie Larson's going to be in it.
Offered him 2 packets of ramen, and you can make whatever you want.
Austin asks us, what movie did you have the biggest shift of opinion on between first viewing it and your most recent viewing? So what movie did you hate and now love, or love and now hate, or maybe it went all the way around?
I don't have anything I don't think I've ever had one that's that drastic, at least not that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
It would have to be something that I haven't seen in such a long time. 8th grade recently. I want to say, I liked it at Sundance. It wasn't the one that it came out clamoring about.
Right.
But when I saw it a second time, I thought it was, way better. Like I thought all the subtleties that I missed the first time because I brought you Bo Burnham's
Zack Stone.
Zack Stone is going to be famous. Go watch Zack Stone is going to be famous. It's fantastic. I was expecting something super loud, and it was the complete opposite.
It's a really quiet movie, a really subtle movie. And if you know Bo Burnham's comedy, that's not what he normally does.
It seems like the complete opposite, yeah. So seeing
it's like a Todd Solondz movie. I don't know if you've seen Happiness, or he did Wiener Dog a couple years ago, but he does these like really awkward, quiet comedies.
Yeah. So I think watching it the second time, knowing what it was, I enjoyed it so much more. I enjoyed I don't want to call them set pieces, but the moments between characters a lot more. The car scene, knowing her specific perspective and the type of character she is. I mean, the thing she does with the banana, the thing she does with a bunch of the other dumb stuff within the movie, and that whole scene with her dad. But what hit me even more was the whole like, were you paying attention? She's a YouTuber, pretending to be something that she's not in front of the camera. And then it gave me a whole nother interest in this movie as I saw people covering the movie. And then forget covering the movie, just everybody else on YouTube pretending to be something that they're not.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a whole layer in there of the cringe factor in 8th grade that, again, I didn't appreciate the first time because I underestimated Bo Burnham.
Yeah. No, when you really look at that movie, you can really see all the ways in which she doesn't really ever speak as herself.
Yeah.
She speaks as these ideas of people until the end.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really brilliant observation in the movie.
That's a pretty dope movie.
As for me, biggest movie shift for me. Again, it's like this is a hard category to even think about because I think you kind of think about the movies as you like them. For me, a movie that I saw and I liked, but now I love is Do the Right Thing.
Okay.
When I first saw that, I thought it was a really stylistic, interesting depiction of a bunch of personalities in New York.
Yeah.
Now I see all the ways in which that movie is still completely relevant.
Yeah.
And the ways in which, like, there's a really brilliant Ebert quote talking about the ending that I can't pull out of thin air, but there's just so many smart choices that Spike does in that movie that still feel relevant to the discussions we have around race today. That I'm a little bit blown away that he was so on the nose in 1980, 1988, something.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a whole movie right there. No, but it's true because to this day, damn, I thought it was like 95 or something, 98 maybe. Damn. Yeah. When did Malcolm X come out?
I want to say 92.
Damn. Spike's old. He's been around for a long time.
Yeah, man.
Sheesh.
Idiot. I searched Malcolm X trying to find out when the movie came out.
And you got his day.
I just got Malcolm X.
What? How did the movie come out before, right when he was born? Spike Lee really is ahead of his time.
Chad asks us, what movie in 2018 would you recommend the most? Now, we're going to get to a best of 2018 list at some point on this podcast, so I don't want us to do what is your favorite movie of 2018, but what's the movie that you think like everybody could or should watch that maybe is a little underseen that you would recommend to a lot of people?
I mean, like, everyone already knows what I would say.
Searching?
Robin Hood. Sorry. Taron Egerton. No, besides Searching, I think one of the big ones you and I have been, like, slightly campaigning for, we mentioned every here and then, is Cameron Post.
Yeah.
That would be one. I don't know. I'm linking on a couple of other ones. Those are, like, the main two.
I would definitely recommend a lot of people check out Black Klansman. That's not one of my...
Sorry to Bother You.
Sorry to Bother You is the one I was going to come up with next.
And it's on Hulu. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but those are two movies that aren't necessarily my favorites, but they have such distinct points of view that I think they'd be really interesting for just about anybody. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who are going to hate Sorry to Bother You, but they're going to remember watching it.
Bro, no. Oh. Have I told you about the Left Eye thing?
I don't know if you have.
Do you remember the group Left Eye?
Yeah.
In the movie?
Yeah.
The rebel group? Who's covered?
Wait, what?
It was an eye patch. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Oh,
so you should definitely go see Sorry to Bother You on Hulu. And you should definitely go see Hereditary, which I would say is another pick. You ready for this one? You know what the... You know what that signifies? You have no idea. This just hit me the other day. I don't even know if someone told it to me. So if someone told it to me, I am subconsciously stealing. Yeah. Or if I thought of it in a dream. Paimon's camel. Approaching. As it gets closer to the end of the movie.
Oh. Interesting.
Bro, that's jacked up. That's jacked. Don't watch Hereditary.
Yeah, right?
You're not going to fall asleep. Oh.
And this is something that we've mentioned a lot on the show recently, but Widows. Widows is a movie for everybody.
Yes. Yes, it is. I've over-recommended Widows to the point that people just won't take me serious.
Howard asks, how do you walk on the line between film criticism and filmmaking? Do you ever feel guilty judging other people's work? This is an interesting question because I think a lot of film critics get to a point where it becomes a little bit weird to be bashing on movies or, you know, disrespecting a film, quote unquote. Especially, you know, you're at the point now where you're getting some producers talking to you, and you don't want to have an awkward discussion with them.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate stuff like that?
Tell them to go screw themselves. I'm here for my audience and my audience only. Here's the weirdest thing. Every time you get that, you always get that thing where people go, well, why don't you go make your own movie? How and show's better? Yeah. Give me the $10 million budget and let's go.
Yeah.
What did you think was holding us back?
Yeah.
What did you think was holding us back?
I mean, there's that. There's like opportunity.
But you don't even have to make a movie to give your opinion.
Right.
It's all about logic.
Right. And I think people often misconflate the idea of a film critic and a filmmaker, thinking that they should be coming from the same place or something like that. A filmmaker, their talents are in the interpretation of material to a visual medium. You know, that's a specific skill. Critics are communicators. You know,
how can they break something? They're the ones who are explaining and breaking down something to you. They're the ones who are able to understand how it's received. I'll put it to you this way. Or all of us chefs. Now, I know you got your blue apron. I know you got blue apron.
Blue apron.
Right? So you practically think you're a chef. But just because you're not a chef, does that mean you don't know the difference between good food or bad food?
Right. Or whether or not something tastes good when I try it.
It's super interesting. I was like, this thing with movies is so concrete. You can use that same logic for food.
Right.
You're able to decipher whether something's good or not.
That being
You're
said,
not a chef.
I think there are a lot of film critics who are disrespectful of
100%.
filmmaking.
I agree.
So
yes.
we're not standing up for that. I think we're both we're at a point where we try to be fair. We try to go into a movie and think, well, what is the filmmaker doing here? What are they trying?
I think the thing is tone. You get some people who like overly nitpick or they try to like make fun of, you know? I've always been of the belief, like there's a bunch of directors, people just go like, this guy, he was out to destroy our childhood. Who are you? No.
Right.
I don't think they actually care to destroy your childhood. Maybe they're not good filmmakers. I won't say the word dumb.
Yeah.
Why would they want, like, why are you acting like they care about you that much? They
like there's
really
some evil
don't.
genius.
Yeah, they just thought of something that they thought was cool.
You didn't think it was cool.
Yeah, it ended up being really, really dumb. Let them know. Yeah, you completely missed it there. They're not out to get you. Like, let's relax there. So when it comes to that, I'm like, no, I think it's all about tone, because like when we complain about stuff, a majority of the time it's like we're disappointed.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest difference. It's not going like, wow, you were complete and utter trash.
Right.
It's when you start telling the intent of the director and stuff like that, and you start pretending like you can do it better. For me, it's sort of like, man,
we love the boy Damien.
yes.
We're big fans of Damien. But if First Man isn't like up to snuff for what he's done, we're gonna feel disappointed, and that's not because of a lack of interest in Damien's work or in him as an artist, but it's because it didn't work the way that Whiplash and the way that La La Land did for us.
Yeah, I think again, it's all a matter of perspective. But I mean, we also get to that point where, like you said, we make critiques, and sometimes literal producers will like it and flip it over. Other times, then they don't like it. But then that's where you get the "This Is Us" effect. That dude, he'll take all the praise from the critics, and the critics really do matter when it's about "This Is Us." Oh, y'all didn't like my movie Life Itself? You white critics need to burn in hell. Oh, they were black and they were women? Then they should all burn it. You cannot pick and choose.
Yeah.
So,
Plug asks, since MoviePass is dying, how many movies do you see in theaters now? Same for me. I don't know. I wasn't reliant on MoviePass.
Yeah, we need to hop you on something. First of all, I don't know how any of y'all do it in New York.
It's the worst. I mean, that's the thing is everything costs so much in New York that
Well, when we went to go see The Favourite, luckily they allowed us to do 3 easy payments of $49.99 in order to be able to enjoy the film. But I don't understand. First of all, just to get into the city, they charge you
$50.
Then to like park in the city, they charge you
$30.
And then I breathe the dirty air in the city, and they charge you for that too.
25.
So it's like, no, what? Like all of your theaters here are like $20 for a 2D movie. Mm-hmm. That's a film archive.
Yeah, and MoviePass doesn't cover a lot of these prices.
MoviePass doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, that's the thing. So I personally would say this: Cinemia, I think, is one of your best options right now, and AMC A-List. I have both, and I still pay for a lot of my movies out of pocket when I go to film festivals. When I'm lucky and blessed enough to be able to get credentials, I don't take that for granted. I appreciate it, but I also don't expect it. There are many times where I don't get it, and I go, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to go get it. I'm still going to go watch those movies and pay for them because at least I'm able to give my honest opinion on those movies. Obviously, I watch a bunch of stuff for Let Me Explain. So I'm still literally watching the same amount, but I'm blessed enough to do it for work, I guess. Our
experience isn't comparable.
It's different. We always say that,
we're
weird.
This is something that I got into an argument on Twitter with Stuckman once, talking because he was talking about how you need to see as many movies as you can, and it's like you get to see as movies as you can in theaters because you're getting paid every time you see a movie. Mm-hmm. We're lucky that sometimes it's financially feasible for us to see a movie and make money off of it. Yeah. So,
who won? How did it go?
I mean, I got ratioed.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, because he's got the biggest fan base.
Yeah, but I think I won.
You got Stuckman.
I got Stuckman, yeah.
So, no, he's not going to be a guest on this podcast. That's what you're saying.
Not yet.
At any point soon.
Yeah.
You know what? Y'all keep ruining it for me in the big guest. No, but I agree with him. It's the same thing. That's like my biggest thing with Let Me Explain is I understand the perspective of where a lot of people are coming from. You got like movies are too expensive, but time. Mm-hmm. And we're not even adding kids and family into the mix. Right. No, like you deserve to know where what you want to go invest your money on and know that it is a product that you like. Yeah. For the people who already know, you don't need to be told. I didn't need to be told to how I wanted to watch movies. Totally. But for the mass audience, film fans keep forgetting the mass audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
we have to stop being so stuck up.
It's hard to always think outside of yourself, but you really have to when it comes to.
Not everyone cares about Fleur Mablur and his new movie that's being released on like the 31st at midnight to be qualifying for cons next. I don't know. They don't care.
Plug also asked us what our favorite horror movie is. Do you have a favorite one?
The Others.
Yeah,
you know I love The Others.
Yeah, I know you love The Others.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, maybe. Rewatched Jaws recently, and that's just so good.
Okay, I count that.
Take Shelter is great also. Mm-hmm. Ian asks us what our thoughts on recent winners from early critics awards are, and if there are any under-the-radar contenders for awards that more people should see. So,
like in the Hereditary?
Yeah, I mean, Hereditary's been getting a couple shout-outs.
May I? It was a cold winter's eve in the early of this year when I came out of Hereditary and I said that people were getting baptized in their own tears because of how scary this movie was. I then went on to make videos about it, and I actually had named it my number one, if not two. I think I was flip-flopping it with Searching at the time.
Yeah.
And I kept hyping it up. That was the first movie I was hyping up before I got into the whole Searching train of it. But I was hyping up that movie like crazy. And people told me, "Yo, you got to stop hyping up this movie. Like you're ruining it. You're just overhyping it. It's not that good." Now I have it in my top 10, and people are going like, "Wow, you're so predictable." Obviously, this is one of the best movies of the year. Y'all crazy. I don't know what else to tell you guys.
So, talking about some of these year-end lists that have been coming out, there was the NBR, National Board of Review, did their top 10, and the AFI did their top 10. AFI was weird. So AFI did Green Book, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, Black Panther, Can You Ever Forgive Me, 8th Grade, First Reformed, If Beale Street Could Talk, Mary Poppins Returns, A Quiet Place, Roma and A Star Is Born, which I mean, there's a few
No.
good movies on there.
No. Like, it's a fine list. Here's the thing: when it comes to the end of the list, everyone wants to quantify their list over the other ones. I just want to know why people like their movies the most. Like, what was it that hit them? Super corny to say, I know, but like everyone's super big on like, no, this movie is better than your movie and stuff like that. I'm very curious. One of my favorite lists are the under the radar ones, where like people have completely forgot about this movie, or a movie that like you always catch that one in Tribeca, or there's those ones at TIFF or Sundance that like almost never got a release, the ones that get lost on Netflix. I'm curious to know about those. Like those are the ones that intrigue me the most, because we all know that where you place Beale Street, it's irrelevant to me.
I mean, I think 8th Grade was going to be that, but it's starting to pop up on a lot of these lists.
Yeah.
It's not exactly getting forgotten about. So I'm happy to see.
That's cool. What do you think it would get? Because I feel like it's going to get a script.
I think it's in for script.
That's like the best thing it could possibly get.
Yeah.
Hereditary.
I think like maybe there's a world in which Elsie gets in there, but I doubt it.
What's getting the 8 or 9?
I mean, that 8th or 9th spot's probably more like a Green Book or a First Reformed than
off the top.
Off the top.
Come on, multiplex.
Fine. Roma, A Star Is Born, The Favourite, Green Book, Black Panther, Black Klansman. Did I say A Star Is Born?
Yes.
What am I missing?
Are you putting Hereditary in there?
No. It's not mine. The Oscars we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Hereditary gets in there.
What else gets in there? Do you think a Ben is back? A Beautiful Boy gets in there?
I could see like a
Beale Street.
You know what I think it is? I think it's something like Melissa McCarthy gets an Oscar nomination for Can You Ever Forgive Me, and it also gets a Best Picture. I think it's going to be because the thing that's been happening a lot at the Oscars recently is not a lot of like 1 or 2 awards. It's grouped awards. So if you're already getting nominated for, let's say, like Can You Ever Forgive Me gets Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Screenplay, you've already got 3. They're gonna be thinking of you for that 4th. So it's you got to think about what's going to get nominated in the other categories, I think.
Okay. Mission Impossible.
That'd be cool.
I want Mission Impossible to get nominated for something.
I'm not against it. And finally, Hayden asks, why did you decide to start making the YouTube videos?
Me or you?
He asked us.
Well,
I did it because I was tired of listening to the people that were on YouTube at the time talk about movies. And now there's a lot of good people on YouTube talking about movies. Wasn't really the case when we started.
Yeah. Well, I started because he started, and I want to reach out to him. And 2.5 years later, we're here, and we're going to Sundance.
46 episodes later?
No, same reason. I mean, I've said it so many times before. Blockbuster closed down. I couldn't work for Blockbuster, so I decided to be the person who recommends movies at a bigger scale on YouTube.
Absolutely,
now
yeah.
I'm here.
And I think
thanks to Blue Apron.
Blue Apron's got us there. I mean, we're lucky enough to have joined YouTube at a time when there was a lack of decent even. I'm not even going to say good. There's a lack of decent film commentary. And
video essays did not exist. If they did, it was just every frame of painting, and nobody knew what to call that.
Right. I remember when I was starting out, I was explaining the concept of video essays to people. And now everybody gets it. So, like, I think we, in the last 5 to 7 years, have seen a big shift in what's been out there for film commentary and reviews.
Video breakdowns.
Yeah, right. Yep. So, for us, it was noticing there's that gap there and trying to fill it, I guess.
Yep.
All right, so those are the questions we received from all of you on Twitter. Thanks again. Please leave us more questions. We'll start making this a weekly thing where we answer maybe 2 or 3 questions per week if we keep getting them from all of you. So comment below, reach out to us online, Twitter, Facebook, you know where, and we will get to them on further episodes of the Intercut podcasts. We're going to skip New to See because we just need more time for this. Yeah, I mean, it's Oscar season, catch up on stuff or look out for those awardsy movies.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons why I came to New York is because I wanted to see what else I can catch up, to be with you as well.
Yeah.
So, don't put that too low. But a bunch of the movies that are coming out, like one of the biggest worries that was missing that pocket of films that only comes out for like that slow period of time that are just trying to qualify. Burning, I'm hoping gets a really big release for those who, because I liked Burning.
Yeah.
I loved the last 45 minutes. There's 2 hours again. We're dealing with those like 6-act type movies. But I hate having someone who's looking forward to Burning having to overly wait and having to go through this Oscar and not even know. Well, I don't know. Am I going for it? I haven't seen it.
Right.
I wish that they got a little bit more of a wider release. So I know with like Burning coming out, Beale Street coming out. I'm blanking on a couple of the other ones. Shoplifters, which I know you and I wanted to catch. Different things like that. Being able to be here to catch up on all those movies. That way we can have that concrete list by the end of the year of the things that we want to cover.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a bunch of movies that, like I said, I've been trying to catch up on VOD, but also just the ones that are in only limited release. And a lot of those end up being Oscar contenders too.
Yeah.
So
that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff out there.
I know towards the end of the year we had talked about doing the Netflix bracket.
Yeah.
I think the beauty of this is like we could do lists, but I think one of the cool things is kind of doing a bracket.
Yeah.
So any guests that you guys are curious having on, or specific brackets, maybe an acting one.
Yeah, I know we've
Maybe
been
directing one.
We've been suggested like LGBT movies in the past.
There's I don't know. I think that would be a really cool thing to do towards the end of the year. Just a whole bunch of list stuff. It'd be the easiest way to do it. Yeah, a whole bunch of brackets. So if you guys have any suggestions, definitely let us know down below in the comment section.
And especially if you got people you want us to bring on, let them know, and we can try and get them on as
Chris
well.
Stuckman. His position.
Don't remind me. To remind him of my existence.
Oh man.
Let's do picks of the week though.
Okay.
So what would you recommend people out there check out?
I got 3. I got a theater, I got an at home, then I got a real at home.
Ooh.
I'm gonna start with the real at home before it gets deleted. David Ehrlich has one thing that he does a year that if none of y'all have ever seen, we literally just sat down and watched it. I've seen it twice.
We sat down and watched the last 4 years.
We sat down and watched it as if we were looking back at wedding memorabilia.
Yeah.
I don't know why we were just
the better times.
Entranced by it. Yeah, he does this edit. This man's collecting footage toward throughout the entirety of the year. So be it he's a writer for IndieWire. Maybe you've seen some of his stuff.
Popular on film Twitter.
You don't agree. He's not as good as our great.
Oh, Richard Brody.
Richard Brody.
He
doesn't have he's not as up there as our man from the New Yorker, but. He does some good articles here and there for IndieWire, but the best thing that he does a year is this little montage thing that he does, and
the top 25 video.
Bro, it is fantastic. There's a Hereditary cut.
Yeah, what he'll do, which is pretty special, he's mashing up all these movies, and he's like a master of the match cut, in which one person's doing an action, and then he cuts to another person doing either the same or similar action.
Like on Final Cut, my man has every scene with a branch. With the left eye open.
Right. Like the ways
pupils dilated.
He does this series. He does this shot of Black Panther that cuts to a shot of Roma, and you won't believe that these two movies
have a symmetry within them. It's interesting. Yeah.
It's really brilliant stuff. Yeah. Also using music that features in these movies. Like you haven't really experienced Mission Impossible until you've seen it set to Shallow by Lady Gaga. Whew.
And I disagree with the entirety of the list.
Yeah, that's not the point.
That's
the
not
order
the point
of the list isn't the point.
Yeah.
Just it's beautifully edited and a good reminder of some of the great movies that came out this year.
So that's one thing I would recommend. Definitely catch it before Queen takes it down because he does use Queen music in it. Mrs. Maisel, second season comes out tomorrow. Definitely catch up on that. That is all on
It'll be
Amazon
out yesterday
Prime.
when this is up.
Oh yeah, it's out right now. So I'm recommending that again because we finished it as soon as we arrived to New York. Being in New York.
Yeah.
And with season 2 out, I definitely am going to binge that. And I actually don't have one for theaters.
No.
There's absolutely nothing else.
Shoplifters.
I wanted to say Shoplifters, but we didn't see it today.
Yeah, true.
So what if I say Shoplifters, someone goes sees it, and they go, dude, that was complete and utter trash. So I'm going to say Robin Hood starring Taron Egerton.
Because you're not worried about anybody thinking that's trash.
No, because if you go see Robin Hood, then that's on you. I don't know what to tell you. I have nothing for theaters.
All right. In theaters, I'll recommend The Favourite if you're not going to go ahead and recommend The Favourite. Because I thought it was very funny and it's very subversive in the way that it kind of breaks traditions of most of these very stuffy period pieces. Like it's my review to you when I first saw it was it's a period piece for people who hate period pieces.
I like how you review things to me.
I do review them to you.
Bro, you were on Rotten Tomatoes.
But
why are you reviewing things to me? I get it. I love our relationship. It's great. What? I literally get all your reviews. I feel like it just goes to your girlfriend and it goes to me. And the entirety of the rest of the audience that you built on multiplex or everything else, nothing. You say you don't even, no, sometimes you don't even bring it up here. Anyways,
I think The Favorite's really funny. If you like Yorgos Lanthimos' work, definitely
Watch
see
Dogtooth.
it. If you don't like Yorgos Lanthimos' work, or don't know it, I should say, watch Dogtooth.
Yeah.
But if you're at home, there's a new season of F is for Family on Netflix. This is the animated show led by Bill Burr.
Yeah, you recommended this.
I've only seen a couple episodes of the new season, and it's been doing this kind of interesting thing in that now that there have been already 2 seasons of it.
This is the third?
This is the 3rd season of it.
Okay.
They've introduced you to a lot of the different characters that kind of fill out the town, right?
Yeah.
And now we're at this point where, you know, it's almost like Simpsons-ish in that you get a couple lines from the main characters, and then somebody pops up that was a minor character on season 1, and then you get
building this lore of it.
Exactly, yeah. And there's kind of like a fun aspect to like really getting into that community, and it's like they built a town in this season, which feels a little bit different than the other years. That being said, the show is still pretty much the same in that it's a funny kind of look at a family growing up in, I want to say, the 70s. So a lot of the humor is very based on the lack of political correctness and the lack of, you know, modern childcare ideas. You know, there's lots of threatening to hit their kids and stuff like that. But I think like what I like about the way that the show deals with the PC humor is it's not about making an anti-PC joke. It's about showing how ridiculous some of the anti-PC stuff is. Like it's almost like the stereotypes go too far in a way. In a way that makes them funny again, to me at least. So I'm enjoying F is for Family. It's a solid, like, low-key show for people who are into like that Bob's Burgers or whatever kind of put it on and relax there. So I'd check out F is for Family if you haven't seen it yet. Or The Favorite. But that's all for this week's show. Live Intercut.
From New York.
We're going to do this again, hopefully. You can catch more from me, Zach Shevich, by following me on Twitter, @ZShevich, or on Instagram and Letterboxd, also @ZShevich. Thanks to those of you who've been doing that. Check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/multiplex show, and Art. Where can people find more from you?
You can find me at Zach's address. The address is you can find me at the A to Z Show on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let me explain as well. You can always find me here as well on the Intercut podcast.
Yes, you can listen to every episode of the Intercut podcast on iTunes, on SoundCloud, on your favorite podcatcher. I like Overcast. And then make sure you're subscribed not just to the audio podcast, but to the video feed on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/intercutpod, where you can catch our bright smiling faces as we break down the latest in entertainment for all of y'all. Find new episodes of Intercut every Thursday, and please leave us a comment, like the video, consider heading over to iTunes and writing a 5-star review or something like that. You can like our Facebook, you can like our Instagram, you can follow us on Twitter.
Print out flyers, send it to everyone around.
All of those are at IntercutPod. Get updates from us throughout the week, from me, from Art, from our guests. I retweet a bunch of stuff on the Twitter. Caitlin's posting stuff on the Instagram. We're keeping you up to date, hopefully. So thanks again for tuning in. And until next time, stop breaking the internet until someone learns how to fix it.
You good, bro? Damn, you felt a way about that.
I gotta put a little emotion into it.